We join Cyclops as he is yelling about the others being idiots. Having returned to the mansion, they found a message from Alex saying that he and Lorna had gone to investigate the mutant in the Himalayas. He had left their coordinates to their location, and irritated that they left on their own, sees that the message is only 8 hours old, and though tired, they hurry after them. We turn to Lorna as she awakens outside the Sentinel ship. Remembering where she is, she wonders where Alex is as she recalls something hitting their ship. Thinking back when they reach the mutant's location, as Alex notices something odd. The ship was struck, the attack having been detected at the last second. Determining it wasn't a missile, Lorna sees a flurry of rocks flying at them and the ship begins falling. Walking through the snow and freezing in the weather, she stumbles upon a temple in the distance. Approaching, she hopes that it's occupied and has a fire, but no one answers when she calls, but upon entering, sees a light in the distance. Behind her, there is an ominous noise upon the air in the mountains. We change to Warren's house as the police are taking away his mother and arresting Bertram for the murder of both her and her husband. However, Bertram claims that the doctor had helped with Catherine, and the officer finds it difficult to believe as he's been the family doctor for years. Wanting to know why, Stewart says it's due to the shame of bringing a monster into the world. Confused at what he means, Stewart continues trying to reveal Warren's secret, but both he and Bertram are unable to speak the words. Candy is glad that the inhibitors Jean put in their minds are working, as Warren wonders how long they'll last as we turn to Westchester and see someone outside the mansion. The mystery man has been learning everything he can about the X-Men when he found their home, and breaking in is able to disarm the security system. Moving cautiously forward, he finds one of the robot guards and finds that preparations he made have allowed him to slip past it unnoticed at all. Reaching the sick bay, he hopes to find records that will allow him to learn about someone and force them to do something when Avia appears and spots him. Reacting quickly, the man knocks her out and, noting that she's not one of the X-Men, feels that she might be just what he needs. Returning to the X-Men, they reach Alex's location as they note the inhospitality of the place when Bobby speaks up, getting their attention. He points out that Cerebro is acting odd as Jean sees it registering thousands of mutants, and Hank feels something is interfering with it when their ship is suddenly struck from below. Cyclops saw that it was a boulder as Beast looks below, seeing that the Sentinel ship seems to have suffered the same fate. Handling the ship expertly, the team leader begins to land gently when they are struck by yet another projectile. Quickly checking to see if everyone is okay, they all look out and see their attacker as it prepares yet another rock to assault them with. Returning to Illinois, Catherine checks in on the professor while apologizing that the room isn't set up for him. He dismisses her concern as she then asks whether her daughter is still a mutant after he had tinkered with her brain. Unsettled at the idea of her daughter being like the X-Men, he simply states that she isn't, and that most mutations happen at puberty, though Ashley seemed to have happened earlier. He temporarily severed her ability to control her powers, as Catherine wonders if her power was what allowed her to control the Sentinel. Confirming her suspicions, Ashley then enters the house and, seeing the professor, asks how he's doing. Telling her that he is well, he checks on her and she tells him that she has a headache. Concerned, her mother asks the professor and he tells her it has nothing to do with what he did. Relieved, she then tells him to stop talking in her head. Back in the Himalayas, the X-Men are holding off the attacker, having recognized it as Yeti, a member of the First Line, all of whom are supposed to be dead. Beast, though, informs them that no one knows what really happened to them, as Cyclops unleashes an optic blast and Jean replies that they had all vanished just before the appearance of the Fantastic Four. Jean and Cyclops have both heard stories of them, as well as Beast, whose parents said that they felt deserted by them. Cyclops is glad that they at least took their villains with them when Yeti grabs Hank by his leg, swinging him, and is concerned as to why the former hero is so violent as we turn to Lorna as she awakens from having passed out inside the temple. She realizes that she doesn't know how long she's been passed out when she spots Havoc lying not too far from her. Calling his name, he awakens and asks her where they are. Telling him that she's not sure, she points out that they're not alone, and looking, he is shocked by what he sees. Beast notes that Yeti is out of control, but remembers that it's not uncommon, as Jean reads his mind, finding nothing there when Iceman spots something approaching. Beast leaps off his opponent as he's engulfed in a cloud of dust. Confused, they see Yeti is frozen, and Iceman wonders if he's turned to stone when a voice denies the claim. Turning, they spot the Inhumans as one of their members say that he'll be fine in an hour. Introducing herself as Pixie, Jean recognizes her as one of the first line as well when Beast asks if she knows what happened, as Medusa says that they know part of it. They tell that Yeti was one of the first of them to leave their home, driven by his animal nature. There was an accident involving the hero Rapunzel, and Yeti tried to go home but was lost in the mountains. They take them to her corpse, where Beast sees that she was a Skrull, and one of the Inhumans tells that she died fighting an invading Skrull force along with the other first line, except for Pixie and Yeti. Havoc and Lorna then appear, hearing that the first line died and if Pixie knew. She did, but didn't want Earth to know that their defenders died and that humanity was nearly enslaved. The X-Men understand why they didn't tell anyone, lest their world lay in perpetual fear of invasion as they board their ships and head home. Upset that the world barely even knows the fallen heroes anymore, let alone what they did, Scott tells them that humanity probably wouldn't believe them if they were told, as they're mutants, and they can only watch for the Skrull. Returning home, Hank is glad that the Inhumans helped fix their ship when they realize that Cerebro had detected the Inhumans since they were close to mutants. Lorna thinks back on Yeti risking his life to protect the Skrull woman he loved as Bobby laughs at her. Spinning around to Bobby and going off on him, they hear a voice shout at them. Turning, they recognize the speaker as Kraven the Hunter. He tells them that he tracked them down and that if they don't want Avia to die, one of them must go against him on a dangerous hunt.